Lesson 41, Review. Okay, there's a few things we want to discuss about this lesson, but before we do that, let's have Antonio pronounce these verb forms for us so that we can review the verb forms and review how they sound as well.
Yo soy. Tú eres. Él es. Ella es. Nosotros somos. Nosotras somos. Vosotros sois. Vosotras sois. Ellos son. Ellas son.
Okay, in the last few lessons, we learned the different forms of yo soy, and we learned them sort of one form at a time. Like in one lesson we learned yo soy, and in the next lesson we learned tú eres, and so on and so on. And it's good to learn things one step at a time like that, but what we need to do now is take all the verbs that we've learned here and put them all together in one chart. And in the last lesson, lesson 40, we learned all about person, first person, second person, and third person. And so what we want to do in this lesson is take all the different forms of yo soy that we've learned, and we want to put them into one special chart, a chart that shows person and number. So along the left-hand side of the chart, you see first person, second person, and third person. And then along the top, you can see singular and plural. And this is a chart that you're going to see over and over as we move forward through the book. You're going to see this kind of diagram for all the verbs that we learn. So to see what person a verb is, you simply look to the left of that row that you're on, and that will tell you the person, whether it's first person, second person, or third person. And the column that the verb is in, that will tell you if it's singular or plural. So this is a very handy chart. It's a very easy to use chart, and it helps give you a sort of a visual demonstration of how these verbs relate to one another. Let's briefly talk about each verb. Yo soy is first person singular. First person means that you're talking about I or we, and singular means that there's just one person involved. So first person singular means I am doing something, and so yo soy means I am. Next we have tú eres, and that is second person. Remember that second person means the person or persons that you are talking to. So tú eres is second person, but it's also singular because there is just one person involved. With this verb, you are simply talking to one person. So tú eres is second person singular. Next we have él es and ella es. Él es and ella es are third person. Remember that third person is the person or persons being talked about. So when you say él es and ella es, you're saying things like he is or she is, and so you're talking about someone, and so that's third person. And of course, he and she, those words are singular. So él es and ella es are third person and singular. Moving to the next column, we have nosotros somos and nosotras somos. Looking to the left, we see that these are first person verbs. First person meaning the person or persons doing the talking. But these are plural because nosotros and nosotras mean we, and so that's more than one person. So nosotros somos and nosotras somos are first person plural, and they mean we are.
And let's remember, Bill, that nosotros, besides its first person and plural, it's a me and a group of people, and it's like saying we in English. But that would be nosotros. But if I want to say nosotras, it has to be that the person saying it has to be a female or somebody of the female gender, and she is with a group of just females. So in my case, I'm a guy, so I can never say nosotras. But if a girl or a woman says nosotras and the group of people that she's including with her are all females, no males at all, then that would be the appropriate case where you would say nosotras.
Okay, so nosotras is for females only, no mixed group there, and nosotros is for men only or for a mixed group.
A woman can say nosotros, even though she's a female, but it doesn't matter if it's a guy or a woman when referring to a mixed first person plural. So if you are a woman or a girl, feel free to say nosotros if the group you're talking about is mixed.
So when you say we, if the we includes men and you're a woman, you can still say nosotros because the group as a whole includes both genders.
That's correct.
The next thing in our chart is vosotros sois and vosotras sois. Of course, as we have noted before, this is not really used in the Americas. It's mainly just used in Spain itself. But we're still talking about these forms just so that you can understand all the different forms that exist here for this verb. So vosotros sois and vosotras sois are second person. Remember, second person is the person or persons that you are talking to, but these forms are plural because you are addressing more than one person. In English, the word you can mean you as in one person or singular, or it can mean you referring to more than one person. So in a sense, that can be a little bit confusing because you have one word that could be singular or plural. But in Spanish, however, we have a different form for singular and a different form for plural. So it's a bit more clear. And Spanish is not the only language that does that. Other languages are the same way. So that's why in our book, we translate vosotros and vosotras as y'all to help capture the pluralness or plurality of those words.
And not only, Bill, we have in Spanish two different ways of saying you, and the singular way and the plural way. But the plural way is also there's also a masculine way and a feminine way.
Just like nosotros and nosotras, right?
Correct. Vosotros is for males only and mixed, and vosotras is when referring to a group of people that it's only female.
Okay, moving on to the next thing in our chart, the last box, we have ellos son and ellas son. Remember, this is third person, and third person means the person or people being talked about or being spoken about. So ellos and ellas mean they. Ellos son and ellas son mean they are. But it's not singular, it's plural because we're not just talking about one person like he or she, we're talking about multiple people. So ellos son and ellas son are third person plural. And as Antonio mentioned already, with nosotros and vosotros, we have two different words here depending on the gender. If it's a group of males only, you say ellos to mean they. If it's a group of females only, you say ellas to mean they. But if it's a group of mixed gender, you have to use the masculine form ellos.
And let's remember also, as far as pronunciation goes, that every time we see double L, remember we could say ellos or ellos or hechos. In my case, I prefer ellos, as if there was a J in there, ellos or ellas.
Okay, that's good to remember. And I suppose the last thing we want to mention in this lesson is memorization. Try as best you can to memorize all of these different forms of yo soy, and not only this verb, but the verbs that we will learn in the future. Do the best you can to memorize them, and that will help you when you try to translate the exercises and when you try to actually use these verbs to speak to someone in a conversation. So it's best to memorize everything as best you can.